Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Fair M, and today we're going to get to hear from Manville in Act 1, Scene 4, but that means we have to talk about what happened in Act 1, Scene 3, and then we probably also should just give some context from the earlier in the play stuff. So what's going to be relevant, it's all relevant. William the Conqueror was in the middle of a joust, and then he saw the painting of a woman on Lubeck's shield that turned out to be the Danish princess Blanche, and he fell in love with this painting, and he's like, let's go, I'm going to disguise myself, let's go, and I'm going to go try to woo her, and Lubeck is like, great, sounds cool, let's go. And then in Act 1, Scene 2, we met Fair M and her father, the Miller of Manchester, and learned that they were actually former nobles who have been somewhat banished and are now living this more peaceful life as millers. And the miller gave the advice that she should remain chaste for as long as she can remain chaste, even though she has lots of suitors, and particularly that one Manville is the one that she's interested in. So then in Act 1, Scene 3, we have William the Conqueror and Lubeck arriving in the Danish court, except William is in disguise as Sir Robert of Windsor, and the Danish king is like, oh, Lubeck, my good friend, it's so good to see you. If only William the Conqueror had actually come too, because I think he's a pretty cool guy. And then he turns to William and he's like, and who might you be? And he's like, I'm Sir Robert of Windsor. And then Blanche gets paraded out, and William is like, ugh. Really? That's her? So he doesn't find her attractive at all. He can't find any redeeming qualities about her. He's like, that painting had to be of somebody different. This might be one of the earlier instances of catfishing that happened in modern literature. But anyway, he's not at all interested in Blanche. But there does happen to be a Swedish princess there named Mariana, who William finds absolutely gorgeous. And he no longer wants anything to do with Blanche, but now he wants to court Mariana, who is kind of being held captive in the Danish court. There's a reference to her, like her ransom is almost collected in Sweden. But anyway, she's being held hostage in the way that a princess would be held hostage, in that, she just lives in a different castle and is still treated like a princess. So William sees her and is like, who is that? I want to date her. And Lubeck is like, she's the one that I'm in love with. And William's like, okay, you can just stop that now. And Lubeck is like, no, that's actually kind of not cool of you to start chasing after the woman that I'm in love with. And William's like, yeah, no, it's fine. We can both love her, and I'm gonna win her. So we've got this burgeoning love triangle beginning around Mariana. Meanwhile, Blanche takes a look at William and is like, oh, he's cute. So that's gonna be fun later, I'm sure. Act 1, Scene 4, we're back in Manchester, and Manville comes onto the stage by himself. He's a nobleman, but he is disguised as a countryman at this point, and he comes onto the stage and he says, I am the subject of my restless thoughts, the anvil whereupon my heart doth beat, framing thy state to thy desert. Full ill this life becomes thy heavenly look, wherein sweet love and virtue sits enthroned. Bad world, where riches is esteemed above them both, in whose base eyes naught else is bountiful. A miller's daughter, says the multitude, should not be loved of a gentleman. But let them breathe their souls into the air, yet will I still affect thee as myself, so thou be constant in thy plighted vow. But here comes one. I will listen to his talk. And then he goes and hides in a bush. So what this is, Manville is in love with Fair M. He thinks that she's absolutely beautiful, and so beautiful that the metaphor that he can come up with to explain how she makes his heart beat super fast, she is the anvil whereupon his heart beats. Yeah, this might have been one of those clues that maybe Shakespeare didn't actually write this play. But anyway, She's an anvil. His heart is being beat upon it. He is frustrated with the world for thinking that she is of too low births and she is merely a miller's daughter. And, he himself is a gentleman, so he shouldn't be in love with a miller's daughter. So he has disguised himself as a countryman and he wants to pursue her. But then he sees somebody else entering. It happens to be Vallingford. He sees somebody else entering, so he hides in a bush. And Vallingford comes in and he's like, oh, such a beautiful miller's daughter, if only she was mine. So Vallingford is also in love with Fair M, and Manville is like, oh, he's also in love with the same person. Oh, and here comes somebody else. And then a third guy, Montenoy, comes in, and we're going to get to hear what he has to say in the monologue tomorrow as this scene fleshes itself out to be reminiscent of something from Love's Labour's Lost. Perhaps, which might be an argument for why they thought maybe this was a Shakespeare play. Anyway, she's an anvil, and I'll see you tomorrow for more. Mwah.